You have to realize that, like, being raised by a public school teacher, first of all, public school teachers get their wage or their pay is like nothing. It's a crime. So I would watch my mother just go paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Like, you know, our heat would get turned off, the phone would get turned off, the electricity would get turned off. There were some nights where it was like, what's for dinner? She's like, we have 2 eggs, scrambled egg sandwiches, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that this work ethic is instilled in you where you realize in order to survive, you have to work. Like, you just have to do it.
Absolutely right.
So I just worked in furniture warehouses and pizza restaurants, and I did landscaping and things like that. There really wasn't a lot of like career aspiration. I wound up getting a job tiling floors in coffee shops. And then a friend of mine said that Nirvana was looking for a drummer.
Right.
So I got a plane ticket, and I put all of my clothes in a duffel bag. Just didn't seem real. It was like, you know when you're young and your parents go away and you're at home alone and you like play house?
Yeah.
In a strange way, this was like us playing rock band. And like this was just like, okay, how could we destroy this? This was a pretty incredible time for not just us, but for music, because there was something happening. It was like something was about to pop. When you're 22 years old and you feel like you could take on the entire world, it was pretty great.
Thank you very much indeed. Boy, hope we didn't wake the neighbours up. Nirvana there, doing the tune that we didn't actually expect, but they wanted me to tell you they're available for children's birthday parties and bar mitzvahs from this weekend.
So when did you realise when you were in Nirvana that the game's changing a little bit now and whoa, hang on a minute, we're getting quite big?
We were so deep in the middle of it that it was hard to really foresee what was going to happen, or, you know, be any sort of judge of it. But our friends were all telling us, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
This is going to be huge. I'm like, really? You think so? This is going to be huge.
As a young man, and then suddenly going, actually, you know what, this is going to be my future. That must have been a kind of a humbling experience, and one you're very grateful for.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at that time, up until that point, it really was always living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, right? And it was on tour, just trying to get to the next show without a flat tire, with enough gas in the thing. And
Yeah.
we were just young, you know? There wasn't a lot of introspection. It was like, wait, that stripper has a motorcycle? Can I borrow that for a second? And then you just like start driving around the Hollywood Hills, you know? But there was a time when I did borrow a motorcycle from a stripper, and I would drive around the hills in Hollywood and try to imagine who lived in these houses, like, and what they did and how they got there. And having grown up in a house the size of a, you know, milk truck, it's like, I would look at these places and think like, God, I wonder what it's like. I wonder what it's like to survive comfortably doing something that you love to do.
Yeah.
And there was a really specific moment where I realized it was no longer that same audience that you played to a year ago. It's growing. It's just trying to hold on as it sped up.
Reading '92, which was a hugely iconic gig for you guys, because the lead up was a kind of will they, won't they perform? Or...
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had gone from, you know, this young band, somewhat innocent, to then going through a lot in those 12 months.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of speculation whether we were going to play or not. And a few nights before that, we had actually rehearsed for the first time in a long time. And the rehearsal felt not great.
Yeah.
We didn't feel prepared to play this show.
Yeah.
And I remember being backstage and the other bands seeing me and saying, like, what are you doing here? I'm like, we're fucking headlining the festival.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? They're like, we heard you weren't going to make it. We heard that Kurt was in rehab. We heard that you couldn't make the gig. I'm like, no, we're here. And we got up on stage, and it really was one of the most like triumphant moments for the band.
The back of that gig, are you thinking, we've turned a corner, it felt so good that something might come of this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very bittersweet clip to watch because, I mean, obviously, like, you know, it makes me very sad. You know, there's some things in life that you feel like very secure in and grounded and stable. And Nirvana wasn't that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a renewed energy that we were not done. And so it was just a matter of, you know, of seeing where it took us next. You know, unfortunately, that's the last time we ever played the UK. That was it. That was the last time.
The lead singer of the rock band Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, has been found dead at his home in the United States. He was 27 years old.
I'm 47 now, and I've lost a couple of friends in the last couple of years that have committed suicide. And it's something that when I was reading up for this really struck me, that you said you don't remember him as a tortured genius. And I'm the same. That I don't remember my friend as someone that had all this angst. I remember her as someone I had a lot of fun with and someone I could douche around with, and this really sweet girl. And you said the same about him. It's just, and I think it's really important to crystallize those memories to almost own the legacy, isn't it? In your own head, if nothing else.
Well, you know, hindsight can be a blurry lens, you know? Like, as much as sometimes you imagine that you find more clarity over time, sometimes that's not always the case. And, you know, I think that there's just so many questions, you know, you're just left with this void and all of these questions. And I think it's important to rely on the moments that you have.
Grieving, but how long did you, before you started sort of writing your own stuff that eventually became the Foo Fighters?
First of all, I didn't really have a plan, you know, like when everything's sort of turned upside down and shaken up like that, you just wake up every day thinking, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? You know, I remember the day after Kurt died, how strange it felt to wake up knowing that he wasn't with us anymore. And that, like, I had another day, you know, like, okay, so what am I going to do with today?
Right.
And I believe it was then that I started to realize, oh, okay, you have to do everything once again. Meaning, okay, I'm going to make a pot of coffee, and this is my first pot of coffee since Kurt's gone. I have to go upstairs and get dressed. This is the first thing I'll wear since Kurt has been gone. And it goes like that. Like, it was hard to imagine, you know, making music or joining a band because it was just too painful. So I honestly don't know what I did. It was months and months and months. I do remember at one point thinking, okay, I'm just going to go to Ireland. so I rented a car I was driving around Ireland, lost. I have no idea where I am. And it felt good. It felt good to just disappear. It felt really good to be away from all of that and just to, just to be alive in this beautiful place. And I was driving down the road and I saw a hitchhiker and he had a Kurt Cobain t-shirt on. I mean, I was in the middle of nowhere. And I thought, okay, I'm going home and I need to do something. I can't I can't be stuck in this place for the rest of my life. I was so blessed and honored to have been in that band, but I needed some continuation of life. And so I went home and decided, okay, I'm gonna take 13 or 14 of these songs that I've recorded by myself in my own little studio over the last like 4 or 5 years, and I'm gonna go record those.